A treatise on the principles and practices of applied parapsychology, the Aragón system. Author's note and disclaimer. The information given in this book is for educational and recreational purposes only. The author does not advise non-medical or alternative treatments to cure diseases. In the event of any symptoms of illness, medical advice should be sought. The use of drugs or toxic substances poisons the body and mind. The author does not encourage the use of drugs or toxic substances and is against their use. The author is not responsible for the use or ill use of the information contained in this book. This treatise systematically organizes the theories and techniques presented by José Herrou Aragón in his work, The Forbidden Parapsychology, to provide a coherent framework for study and application. Part 1. The foundational principles of psychic sovereignty. The core philosophical premise of the Aragón system is the absolute sovereignty of the individual mind over personal destiny. This system posits that each person is the sole architect of their own reality, constantly shaping their future through the contents and direction of their thoughts, whether consciously or not. Understanding and accepting this principle of mental authorship is the prerequisite for all subsequent practical applications, as it shifts the locus of control from external chance to internal will, the nature of the mind and destiny. According to this framework, individuals are solely responsible for their present circumstances and future outcomes. The concept of a predetermined fate is reframed as a consequence of passivity. For those who go through life as sleepwalkers, reacting unconsciously to stimuli, the future will merely be a repetition of the past. However, for those who choose to be active participants, destiny becomes a malleable substance, ready to be shaped by conscious intent. Nothing is immutably fixed. Every event, even those seemingly beyond one's control, can be leveraged for personal benefit. The architecture of the psyche. The human psyche is described as being overwhelmingly dominated by the unconscious mind, which is thought to constitute 90% of its total volume. It is this vast, submerged aspect of the mind that primarily determines an individual's destiny. The contents of the unconscious are a direct result of formative experiences, beneficial impulses, positive and healthy. Childhood experiences, such as love and protection, give rise to unconscious tendencies that lead toward happiness and success. Self-destructive impulses. Negative experiences, traumas, and hardships from childhood generate unconscious drives that strive to produce failure, suffering, and bad luck. This repository of unconscious content continuously conditions an individual's life, guiding their choices and shaping their reality from a level beyond their immediate awareness. The manifesting power of thought. A central tenet of this system is that everything conceived on the mental plane possesses an inherent tendency to manifest on the physical plane. Thoughts are not ephemeral, but are potent precursors to reality. This principle is amplified by a critical feature of the unconscious mind, its inability to distinguish between the psychic and the physical, or between what is real and what is unreal. For the unconscious, any thought or imagined scenario is treated as a valid reality, which it will then work to materialize in the external world. This foundational understanding of the mind's power transitions the practitioner from theory to the practical methods for consciously directing that power. Part 2. The internal art, mastering psychic self-influence. The strategic importance of psychic self-influence cannot be overstated. It is the essential first step in reclaiming control over one's destiny. The art of self-influence is a disciplined practice aimed at consciously reprogramming the vast, powerful, unconscious mind, aligning its automatic processes with the conscious desires of the individual. The objective, commandeering the unconscious. The fundamental goal of self-influence is to produce deliberate changes in unconscious mental content. By imprinting new commands and desired outcomes, one can override the pre-existing negative or limiting programming inherited from past experiences. Mastering this internal command and control removes personal obstacles and transforms an individual from a passive leaf in the storm into a conscious creator, capable of building a new future unconstrained by the patterns of the past. A compendium of self-influence methodologies. Several methods are proposed for imprinting commands upon the unconscious. Each relies on the principle of disciplined repetition to achieve its effect. The mental image method. This technique relies on immersive, first-person sensory visualization. The practitioner closes their eyes and imagines a desired situation, feeling as if they are actually there and experiencing it directly, rather than watching it like a movie. For example, to increase seductive power, one would visualize being surrounded by admiring people. This is recommended for 10-15 minutes, once or twice, daily. The mirror method. This method combines direct verbal repetition with self-gazing. Standing close to a mirror and looking fixedly into one's own eyes, the practitioner verbally repeats the desired command, for example, I want this or that, again and again. The recommended practice is 5-10 minutes, 2 or 3 times a day. the written command. Method. This technique reinforces intent through the physical act of repetitive writing. The practitioner writes the same command, such as, "I want to succeed in my studies," over and over. The frequency and duration are similar to the previously described methods. The recorded command. Method. This process utilizes auditory imprinting. A simple, clear command is recorded and listened to hundreds of times. This can be done during quiet moments in the day, or more potently, played on a loop while falling asleep and throughout the night. The Aragón method, a refined protocol for nocturnal imprinting. The author's personal method is a refined protocol, specifically designed to leverage the heightened receptivity of the mind during the transition to sleep. 1. Preparation. Lie in bed, ready for sleep, with lights out and minimal noise. 2. Relaxation. Engage in a gentle relaxation exercise, aided by a few deep breaths, to achieve a state of peace and restfulness. 3. Entering the level, begin mentally counting upwards from 1. To aid focus, the numbers can also be visualized. Stop counting at a random number between 18 and 33, establishing this as the numeric level for the work. 4. The formula. Mentally recite the self-influence formula. Let my mind keep this command in my memory the whole time on a permanent basis, and do everything necessary to make this happen. 5. The command. State the specific wish or command 3 times. 6. Confirmation. Conclude by repeating the phrase, "Let this command be carried out," 3 times. 7. Transition to sleep. Immediately allow yourself to fall asleep. If sleep does not come easily, count down from the chosen numeric level to 0. The critical key to this method's efficacy is going to sleep immediately after giving the command. This is considered more effective than other methods because the unconscious mind is most prone to accepting commands during sleep, as it works to harmonize and balance its content. For best results, it is advised to practice every night, insisting with the same command for several days before moving to another. It is best to work with only 1 command per session. If awakened during the night, the practice can be repeated before returning to sleep. Anticipated phenomena and results. Consistent practice is expected to produce a range of internal and external changes. These phenomena serve as indicators that the unconscious mind is being successfully reprogrammed. Early indicators. Later manifestations. Feeling strange or changed. Beneficial events aligning with commands. Increased liveliness or calmness. Changes in dreams, nightmares. Comments from other people. Temporary dizzy spells during the day. Situational applications of psychic self-influence. The applications of this internal art are vast and can be directed toward any area of personal development. Professional and personal magnetism. Overcoming shyness and fear. Increasing the ability to seduce and attract others. Finding an ideal partner. Achieving a general state of happiness. Health and well-being. Preventing illness and maintaining perfect health. Eliminating harmful habits like smoking or drinking. Controlling body weight. Promoting rejuvenation and longevity. Parapsychological development. Enhancing overall mental power. Developing intuition and psychic perception. Improving the ability to perform other parapsychological techniques. General life success. Strengthening willpower, memory, and concentration. Achieving success in studies, business, and sports. Avoiding accidents and misfortune. Through the mastery of the self, the practitioner is now prepared to apply these principles externally upon others and the world. Part 3. The external arts, the mechanics of direct influence. Once the internal psyche is under conscious command, the focus shifts to influencing others and external events. This practice operates on non-physical dimensions and relies on the conscious, directed creation and transmission of thought forms. It is a technique for inserting desired thoughts and impulses directly into the minds of others. The metaphysical framework. The system posits that our physical world is interpenetrated by other, more subtle dimensions or planes of existence, such as the emotional and mental planes. These invisible realms, collectively referred to as the astral plane, are the medium through which thoughts and emotions travel. Most people unconsciously create weak, diffuse mental forms that quickly dissipate. In contrast, a trained practitioner can create powerful, consciously directed thought forms and send them to any point in the universe, where they can make a significant impact beyond the constraints of space and time. Ethical considerations and justification. The author addresses the morality of influencing others by asserting that human beings are not truly free. Individuals are described as being perpetually reacting slaves to countless internal and external stimuli, from advertising and social pressure to astronomical energies. Within this context, parapsychological influence is presented as merely one more powerful, invisible stimulus. The argument is that it is impossible to make someone more of a slave than they already are, and therefore the practice can be undertaken without guilt. Core techniques for direct influence. 2 primary methods are presented for projecting one's will onto another person. Visualization within the special place. This is the principal technique for direct influence and follows a 2-step process. 1. Mental transference. The operator mentally transfers their consciousness to a special place. This can be a real or imagined location, a house by the sea, a river bank, where the work will be performed. This place is considered absolutely real on the mental plane. 2. Active visualization. Within this special place, the operator actively visualizes the target person. This is not passive memory. It is an act of creation, where the operator makes the visualized person perform the desired actions or say the desired words. The critical distinction is between remembering an image and controlling it. The operator must feel as if they are truly present in the special place, observing the target in 3 dimensions, rather than watching a film of themselves. The bodily transfer method. This alternative technique is suitable for those who find visualization difficult. It involves mentally occupying the target's body and directing their thoughts, feelings, and actions from within, as if one has become that person. In this case, we will have reversed roles. At this moment, we will be the person we wish to influence, and being inside them, we will be able to make them act, feel, and think just as we wish them to. The use of words and sounds. Language, whether spoken aloud or thought mentally, can be used to complement visualization. The operator can speak to the visualized image, giving it commands, or persuading it to comply. This adds another layer of influence, leveraging the magical force inherent in words and sounds. Operational best practices and phenomena. To ensure the effectiveness of direct influence, several key principles should be observed. Practice duration. There are no fixed times. The practitioner should work for as long as feels comfortable and productive, but should stop immediately when bored. Forcing the mind can create internal resistance and diminish results. Recognizing effects. The first signs that the influence is taking hold are little changes in behavior. The target may become more talkative, make tangential references to the subject of the influence, or exhibit physical signs like glassy eyes. These indicators confirm that the thought forms are being received. Overcoming resistance. Resistance occurs when the target's mind rejects the new mental images, leading to behaviors of fear, distance, or rejection from them. Strategies to overcome this include increasing the intensity and duration of the influence, softening the visualizations to be less intrusive, or pausing the work for a few days before resuming with greater force. Applications of direct influence. This technique can be applied to a wide array of situations to shape outcomes according to one's will. Love and business. Visualizing a person behaving lovingly to attract them, or visualizing business partners accepting proposals and signing contracts. Healing. Visualizing a sick person as completely cured, or imagining one's hand cleaning or repairing an affected organ from within. General life. Pacifying hostile individuals by visualizing them as happy and friendly, or extending influence to animals and even plants. Having established the principles of general influence, the treatise now turns to the highly specialized and potent technique of sexual influence. Part 4. Specialized applications, sexual influence, and psychic combat. This section details advanced, highly targeted applications of parapsychological power. These techniques, which range from inducing sexual arousal to conducting psychic attack and defense, represent a more direct and forceful manipulation of an individual's personal reality, and are presented as potent tools for achieving specific, high-stakes objectives. Parapsychological sexual influence. This technique is defined as the direct, parapsychological stimulation of another person to arouse them sexually and attract them specifically to the operator. It is described as a kind of parapsychological violation that is instantaneous and 100% effective. The central mechanism of this technique is the parapsychological touch. The primary focus is not on visualization, but on the operator's tactile sensation of caressing the target's body in their imagination. The operator mentally feels as if they are physically touching the person, with visualizations being secondary. This imagined contact is said to produce immediate and observable external reactions in the person being influenced, such as a sudden air of preoccupation or uncertainty, touching their own face, neck, or mouth, playing with their hair, nervously scanning their surroundings as if searching for the source of the feeling. Crucially, the system asserts that the arousal produced in the target refers exclusively to the operator. Even if the operator is unknown to the target, their interest and desire will be directed towards the operator upon first sight. The art of the psychic attack. A psychic attack is defined as a negative or destructive parapsychological influence. A distinction is made between unconscious attacks, such as those fueled by envy, and conscious, deliberate attacks, which are far more devastating. The direct psychic attack method is, like sexual influence, based on tactile sensations. The key is for the operator to mentally feel the act of injuring the target with a weapon, such as a knife. The operator imagines and feels the weapon penetrating the target's body repeatedly. The symptoms experienced by a victim are categorized as follows: psychological, panic attacks, anguish, intense and irrational fears, hearing voices, suicidal thoughts, and uncharacteristic impulses. Physical, general tiredness and weakness, headaches, glassy eyes, lowered immune defenses, and unexplained pains or illnesses. Circumstantial, proneness to accidents, financial ruin, business failure, social isolation, and a pervasive sense of bad luck. The author justifies the use of psychic attacks as a form of self-defense, operating under the maxim, the best defense is a good attack. Indirect attacks and influences. Indirect influence uses physical objects as a psychic support or conduit to focus and channel parapsychological power. Unlike direct mental influence, this method relies on a concentration of energies sent by the operator to literally envelop the physical object being used. Wish lists. The practitioner writes down their desires on a list. Daily they hold the list and visualize the fulfillment of each wish, one by one. As wishes are fulfilled, they are crossed off. Names and objects. A person's name, photograph, or a personal object, like a handkerchief, is used as a focus point. The object is wrapped in paper with the desired command written on it, and the operator directs visualizations towards this package daily. Radiation of words, the fan method. This unique method uses a fan to radiate a written command. A piece of paper with the command is taped to the center of the fan's spinning propellers. A photo or name of the target is fixed to the stationary part of the fan grill, just in front of the spinning command. The fan is run for several hours a day. Example for love. I love operator's name, madly. I can't bear it anymore. I will tell him/her right now. Example for business. We are desperately buying everything that operator's name is selling. Psychic self-defense. A multi-pronged strategy is recommended to defend against psychic attacks. 1. Eliminate fear. Fear is counterproductive as it weakens one's psychic defenses and attracts negative forces. The first step is to remain calm. 2. Psychic self-influence. Use the nocturnal imprinting method with protective commands, such as, I want all the harm that has been done to me to go away, or I want whatever harm the attacker has done to me or wants to do to me to return to him. 3. Counterattack. Employ the psychic attack techniques described previously to deter the aggressor and force them to cease their assault. 4. Visualization. Create protective visualizations, such as imagining oneself inside an impenetrable glass bell that repels all negative influences. These specific applications demonstrate the range of psychic power, leading to the final part of the treatise, the ultimate source from which this power is cultivated. Part 5. The source of power, energetic cultivation, through sexual and respiratory yoga. This final section reveals what is presented as the key to the entire system. While the previously discussed techniques are described as effective on their own, their power can be amplified exponentially through the deliberate cultivation of internal energy. This is achieved via specific sexual and breathing practices designed to conserve and transmute the body's most potent life force energies. The core doctrine of sexual energy. The central thesis regarding orgasm is that it represents a terrible loss of energy, particularly for the brain, and is the primary cause of physical, mental, and spiritual deterioration. The orgasm is framed not merely as an energetic expenditure, but as an act that shatters love and separates a person from their true self. The author posits that orgasm constitutes authentic suicide, physical and spiritual. In contrast to this loss, the practice of orgasmic abstinence is introduced. This is not the avoidance of sex, but the avoidance of orgasm. The goal is to accumulate seminal energy by drastically reducing the frequency of orgasm to, for example, once every 30, 40, or 60 days. This conserved energy is believed to repair and empower the brain. The practice of Maithuna, sexual yoga. Maithuna is defined as sexual intercourse without orgasm, where partners separate before reaching climax. Its primary aims are to agitate and increase the circulation of sexual emanations, to facilitate an exchange of subtle fluids between partners, to achieve a state of heightened ecstasy and connection while conserving vital energy. Alternative forms of Maithuna are also described, such as non-penetrative union or practicing with an imaginary partner, all focused on generating and containing sexual energy without its explosive release. The symbiosis of breath and power. Breathing techniques are presented as a practice that perfectly complements sexual yoga. The practice is broken down into 3 fundamental steps. 1. Puraka, conscious, slow inhalation through the nose. 2. Kumbhaka, the retention of breath. 3. Rechaka, conscious, slow exhalation through the nose. Of these, Kumbhaka is given supreme importance. Just as seminal retention is the key to sexual yoga, breath retention is the key to respiratory control. It is explicitly called the second secret of parapsychological power, working in synergy with conserved sexual energy to dramatically increase one's psychic abilities. A synthesis of benefits. The combined practice of orgasmic abstinence and controlled breathing is claimed to produce profound and wide-ranging transformations. Domain benefits of orgasmic abstinence, benefits of breathing techniques, physical brain repair, perfect health, rejuvenation, increased resistance to pain, heat, and cold. Toxin elimination purifies the organism, activates glands, boosts the immunological system. Psychological overcomes shyness, depression, and fear. Increases confidence, memory, intelligence, and willpower. Strengthens will, expands conscience, calms passions and desires, eliminates insomnia. Parapsychological. An unequaled ability is reached. Powers become dramatically stronger. Visualization becomes effortless. Greatly increases psychic power. Aids in the construction of clear, stable, and powerful mental images. In conclusion, this treatise codifies the Aragón system as a comprehensive path to psychic mastery. It begins with the internal art of controlling the self, extends to the external arts of influencing the world, and is ultimately fueled by the conscious conservation and cultivation of the body's most potent life force energies through sexual and respiratory discipline.